Okay, and filming is already started.
You just need the camera's also doing video.
I know, right? This is the life of voice actors. But welcome to another episode of Cineplex. Today I have Sean Chiplock here. You know him from lots of different shows like ReZero, I saw you on stream for one of the Spike Kids out when they were like doing the game.
Right. Yes.
A lot of virtual stuff over the last few years, but finally you're back in person.
Yes. Very excited, but I'm also very proud of the conventions that have adopted, the mask requirements, the vaccine requirements. I know that a lot of them wanted to get back to, having the events and having the attendance and having the money to afford doing this year after year. But I also appreciate that people attending the cons have been extremely vocal about how important safety and health is to them. I have seen countless examples already of cons, both, anime conventions or even some other fandom conventions where they rescinded their vaccine requirements at almost the last minute. And the backlash was palpable and immediate, and almost always they ended up bringing those requirements back in. So it's a team effort, and I'm so grateful that even though there are powers that be that feel like it's over, we don't have to worry about it anymore, that the fans and the people who are helping these industries stay alive for the most part are like, no, if you're going to market your services to us, we want to do it on our terms. We want to feel like we are safe being here. There's a lot of dangerous stuff that's happening, so I'm just very grateful that they're being vocal.
Yeah, we're out here, we're at the San Jose Convention Center, which also hosts a fandom event.
Yes.
And this is one of the convention centers that actually they do an insanely good job at enforcing the mask policy.
Right.
They make sure if you're not eating or drinking that you got to keep it on.
Yep.
So I'm really glad for that, especially for us, considering that we also
there have already been other cons unrelated to this one where it's like the mask policy was only enforced as far as getting in the door, and then once it was every man for themselves.
And then at Anime Expo, I saw some guy coughing on the side of the room, and I told him to wear a mask. Like, say that again. It's like, I know you have a mask to wear. Like, please. Anyways, that all aside, how has it been for you coming back, finally interacting with a lot of fans, and you're also selling some candles, right?
There's been a bit. Well, to answer the first part, there's been a bit a mix of nervousness and gratitude. Because the nervousness is obvious because we're still in the pandemic. We're still dealing with all these other things happening. And then I'm also worried that if I go there, it may prevent me from being able to work. I don't want to catch anything and come back and harm my wife or my colleagues. But the gratitude is also there because as much, a lot of people don't know this, but for me, convention stuff had actually finally started picking up right as the pandemic first hit. So as I was starting to build that reputation of being someone who was valuable enough to bring the cons, it all got shut down. Well, there's almost like a weird, I don't want to call it a blessing because this whole thing has been like a terrible experience, but it's almost a weird positive in that now that things are starting to come back in the time that has passed, we had the ReZero game come out, we had, Aeon Summon Files come out, we had a big personal one for me, Gunvolt 3 coming out. There's all these new roles that I've been able to talk about. So when I started coming back to these conventions, I came back with a vengeance, just hitting the ground, running. I felt like Ida from My Hero Academia with the engines on full blast. So, I'm like, hey guys, I'm back, with Genshin Impact especially. Here's everything that I have to offer, and people have been super receptive to it. What was the second half of the question? The candles.
You also sell some candles.
So around the same time as my wife, we were both trying to figure out stuff to do during the downtime of the pandemic. I was busy building my remote studio because the work had to keep going. But my wife wanted to find something to focus all of her pent-up energy into, and she started getting into candle making because, not to rag on any particular vendor, but we noticed there were a lot of cases at conventions where they would sell those really big tubs of candles, but they would snuff themselves out almost immediately just because there was so much wax. And so she was like, well, I enjoy crafting and creating. I think she does Dungeons and Dragons with friends. And she's like, what if I took all of these characters that I enjoy from different games and shows, and I imagined what smell reminds me of them based on their personality, and I made a candle based on that, but it's a smaller one that you can carry with you, that you can light in smaller rooms. And she went full bore into it, just the way that I'm passionate about voice acting. She's so passionate about this hobby. It's not even her main job. She works 40 hours a week. And it's taken off. Well, at least I'm hoping it takes off. She's still building her online shop. She's not used to dedicating a lot of time to it. But as we speak at the time of this interview, I started this 3-day con with 100 candles. It's the most I've ever brought to an event. We are now down to 7. And this is a business that she isn't well known yet. it's just people smell these candles and they smell it like, oh my god, it really does smell exactly like that. And they're at a price point where they're like, I can take one and bring it home with me. So I'm so grateful that even though she's never able to come with me to these events, that I can support the business as a loving husband and as someone who shares in things that people are passionate about. And I'm just really grateful that at the same time I'm coming back to cons that I can be bringing her stuff as well.
I think you're adapting in all the right ways, and I feel like the theme of my channel is really to like help teach people how to be in this industry. So you're teaching us a lot just from what you're saying about adaptability.
I honestly think a huge part of it is passion, and it's important to understand the distinction. There is passion in terms of being like a fan or just like a fanboy, and while that's great, it can get in the way of being a professional. But I found that if you are passionate about what you are doing, period, there is almost this kind of self-inflicted perfectionism where you're like, because I'm passionate, there is a certain standard of quality that I expect of myself. And that passion leads to very high quality things if you apply yourself, whether it's candle making, whether it's voice acting, whether it's vendoring. I could say that Crunchyroll is passionate about their place in the industry because, as you were touching on, they have all of this space to use, and they have been using it. I've been hearing about the morning stretches that they do out in the plaza, like all the cars that they have parked in the dealer den. Like apparently the reason why Saturday was slower for a lot of vendors was because literally all of the panels being offered were capped out. They were at max capacity because there was always something that people wanted to be doing. And that is clear that the people in charge of running the event are not only passionate about what they're doing, they understand what the people coming here are passionate about, and they sell it, they offer that, and that's the recipe for success right there.
Having attended every other one, I can tell you for a fact right now, this is
I am mad impressed with what they have pulled off.
This is the best one that I've attended personally. I haven't been to all.
I feel like we're just shilling for free at this point.
Right?
But if we are talking about an event that anime fans will thrive at, I've basically not left my table for most of the weekend. I haven't seen any of these panels, any of these concerts. I can just feel the energy in the air, and it is one of success. So kudos.
Thank you for coming on, Sean. I know you're busy. I know you got to sell the rest of those 7 candles. And,
we got just under 4 hours, and I know that most people are heading home, but it's like it's 7, man. Like I just got to 2 per hour, and we'll get there. So,
well, ladies and gentlemen, Sean Chiplock, thank you for coming on.
Pleasure meeting you. Our pleasure spending time with you. Take care.
Hopefully we can work together on something.
Absolutely. All right. Take care.